Man, this guy is on fire and proves out that you can win when you play. So many people think it's hustle, grind, and work and delay and one day, someday. But Jesse Cole, who's now been featured with Banana Land, the documentary on ESPN+, I just watched his segment as well on Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, and I personally attended one of the games for the Savannah Bananas just this summer. So he took something that was struggling and dying with this baseball franchise with only a few season ticket holders buying over a 6-month span to having tens of thousands of people on a waiting list and taking this on tour around the world, grabbing the attention of Major League Baseball. So he's the man in the yellow suit that proves it pays to play. So Jesse Cole, this is Getting Scaled. Jesse Cole, my man, what's up, dude? Right there in the yellow suit, as always, with the yellow hat, like the modern day marvel. I mean, dude, I went to the Savannah Bananas game, and that wasn't even your wild ones. That was an actual game where there was true competition. So, how in the hell did you get started in this thing? And I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff around this, but you even have this documentary that came out. What's up?
It's wild. Yeah, we were fortunate. Yeah, just ESPN did a 5-episode series, ESPN Plus original, which was fun. But yeah, I mean, no, I started in baseball, man. I love baseball, played it my whole life. And then I realized when I was done playing, the game was too long, too slow, and too boring. So we said, how do we mix it up? And so, as you know, we were doing a lot of things with the Bananas, but 15 years later, we've tried a lot of things, failed with a lot of things.
15 years you've been doing this thing? 15 years?
Crazy, man. Yeah, I started 2007. We started with a team in Gastonia, North Carolina, and I was only $268 in the bank account my first day running that team. And only 200 fans coming to the games. So it was the lowest level of baseball is where I started learning how to make it more fun.
And if you can make it work there, then you could probably make it work anywhere. But obviously, the MLB is probably scared of you in a lot of ways.
I've had a lot more conversations with major league teams in MLB over the last year than I probably ever have. So I think there's a lot of smart people in MLB who realize that they want to reach a younger audience and want to do new things. And fortunately, from us sleeping on an airbed 6 years ago and not able to sell a ticket to now with a wait list over 100,000 and doing a world tour, it's come a long way.
So Savannah Bananas, I go out there. You have a horse running out in the center field to start the game with someone riding it with a flag, of course. I mean, why not? You've got this twerking first base coach that was entertaining as could be. You've got these guys in like yellow kilts. You're throwing bananas at fans that are trying to catch them in MC Hammer pants. You've got the slowest race of all time, which is a bunch of babies out on the field in between innings to see if anyone will actually move. And you're just like with the microphone running around. Like, dude, do you get tired from all that? Because you are putting in the work, bro.
No, I get tired. See, I'm like probably the opposite of you. I get tired like looking at numbers and financials and spreadsheets.
Dude, I don't look at numbers ever. I mean, I'm a conceptual, philosophical guy. I'm not.
That's why I thought you're a creator. So like back in the day, I don't know if you were. So like, yeah, I get tired doing that stuff. When I'm like you now, when you're a performer, that gives me energy. I being on the crowd. So yeah, I'm exhausted when I get home at the end, but during it, I'm loving it. So, I mean, yeah, I think about fans lining up hours in advance now. I mean, the night you were at, we had fans from 27 states. It's pretty crazy.
And so you had how many season ticket holders when you bought the team?
Well, there was a former professional team that only had 200 fans coming to the games. And then when we came in, we only sold 2 tickets in our first 3 months. That's how bad it was when we came in. And then what was the first crazy thing that you did that caught attention and started to create this momentum? Like where was like how did this happen? We named the team after a fruit. It was on February 25th, 2016. So when we named the team Bananas, literally it created more conversation than we ever imagined. People said the owner should be thrown out of town. You guys are an embarrassment to this city. You'll never sell a ticket. This is the worst name ever. But it was #1 trending on Twitter that night, like #1, like nationally over everything else. And so merchandise went crazy. We were all over SportsCenter, but locally people hated it. So it was just constant attention. So you had all this negative attention that you made extraordinarily positive. You sold a bunch of tickets, and then like you named it Bananas, but when did you start like emceeing this whole thing and do, like, it's like a circus of baseball? Well, it was idea, baseball's too long, too slow, too boring. I think with any business, whatever you do, you got to look at the friction points of the experience. For baseball, it's outrageously long. So we said, how do we make it fun? And how do we make people think it's not just baseball? So we said, all right, if our players do choreographed dances, if we have a breakdancing coach, if we have a baby, we put in a banana costume, we lift them up before the game and sing, nah, Savannah, nah, here. If we have a Banana Nanas senior citizen dance team, if we have a male cheerleading team called the Man-Nanas, which is the dad bod cheerleading squad. Now we have a dancing umpire who break dances in the middle. So we just kept thinking of all these things to plus the experience as Walt Disney used to do. And by the first game, people walked in and said, I've never seen anything like this. So like a great Vegas show, when you walk in, you're like, you tell everyone like what Cirque du Soleil did back when they first started. And so that's what happened from 2 tickets to now, every game sold out. And now we're going to 32 cities and 20 states next year.
Dude, I like that you had some like former MLB pitcher that's like 70 or something, pound a beer, walk out on the mound, throw a strike and walk off the field. And is that like or like a dude that does a cartwheel or a headstand and then pitches while he's upside down?
Yes. Well, we're looking for different people. Again, how can you be the only in your industry? You think about this, obviously, without comedy and everything, there's so many comedians, but what do you do different? And so for us, we're not gonna be the best baseball players. So the 75-year-old spaceman, Bill Lee, pitched in the 75 World Series for the Red Sox. He's in the Red Sox Hall of Fame, but he's a partier. He's crazy. He's known to do and try everything. And so he's like, let's come out of the field, drinking a beer. I'll drink a beer on the field. Like, all right, Bill, whatever you want to do. And then we've got, a guy who can do a split when he comes up to the batter's box. So literally he can do a full split. So it's this world's smallest strike zone. And then you have a guy on stilts who's the world's tallest hitter and world's tallest pitcher. He's 10 feet tall and he pitches and hits. So we're looking for a different caliber of people to give people that moment. You say, you wouldn't believe what I saw tonight at the baseball field.
How long did it take the news to go from, what a joke and I can't believe this, you'll never sell a ticket, to becoming your fans and, part of the positive movement?
It started the first game. We convinced enough people to come out of the first game to see us potentially fail. Like we sold out the first game, and every ticket in Savannah is all inclusive. So you can't come to a game in Banana without all your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert, all included. No ticket fees, no convenient fees, none of that. But we never knew how to do it. And so that's the thing. Like we always think about what's the best experience for the customer and the fan, but we didn't know. And so that first night, Garrett, fans waited almost 2 hours for food. It was the worst. We didn't know we were going through 10,000 pieces of meat in an hour. We had no idea, but people would take all this. And so it was really bad. But what happened is they watched the Banana Nanas dance. They watched the Banana Baby. They watched the Banana Pep Band and the break dance.
That was right at the beginning. You had all that stuff.
We had, we didn't have now like the dancing umpire. We didn't have the Man-Nanas. We had a good portion of it. We had the Banana Baby. We had the break dancing coach. We had the dancing players. And they saw that in the Banana Nanas. They were like, wow, this is something special. So at that point, they started telling everyone. And that first night, we were wearing green uniforms because we weren't quite ripe. Like we were playing with all the banana puns where our bases were yellow. Like we were trying to pay attention to all the details. And I think fans noticed it and started telling everybody.
How many different yellow suits do you have?
Way too many. Way too many.
Well, it's just good to know that you have more than one, so that
and I got a good dry cleaning relationship too right now. A partnership, it works out well, but way too many.
You wear that you wear that when I spoke with you in San Antonio.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, it's we know our friend Todd Harmon, the alter ego too. Like the reality, this isn't actually my alter ego, but when I put it on, it's my own show. It's a showtime. Like that's what it is. Like when I wore a uniform. Did you play sports, Garrett, back in the day?
I did, yeah.
What'd you play?
Yeah. I played baseball and basketball.
Okay. There's a difference between wearing shorts and playing baseball on the side with putting on your uniform. When you put on your uniform, it's a different frame. It's a different mindset. It's game time. The same thing.
I have my comedy shoes. I change into shoes right before I go on stage that are only to be worn when I'm on a comedy stage.
Yes, and it's the exact same thing. So
it's not much more subtle than what you're doing.
Subtle, but the exact mindset. So, for instance, as PT Barnum is a big impact, made a big influence on me. When I put this on, I know it's showtime. So even with you right now, like I'm on stage. I'm not. When I'm in front of people, I'm on stage. When I'm at home with my kids, I'm not wearing this at home with my kids.
Well, that's good, man. It's good to know.
Thanks. Yeah, my kids.
So
my wife does.
So you've gone from now you have 100,000 person waiting list.
Yeah.
Right. You're taking this on the road.
Yeah.
So how do you scale without getting scaled? I mean, how do you enjoy life and how do you not have this just eat every moment of your time?
It's a focus on the simplest question, to focus on where I make the biggest impact. So I don't know a lot what's going on in our organization. I know what's in our bank account. I don't know what our financials are. That's crazy for an owner, but I spend my time what gives me energy. So every day I'm working on ideas. Like literally, I had a dentist appointment this morning. As soon as I got the dentist appointment, I FaceTimed our director of entertainment because I was thinking of ideas while I was on the dentist chair, and I started writing down more ideas. And so FaceTime them. So I spend my time on the ideas and the creative that can help scale us, because ideas are then what drives our content. So like for us, we're about to hit 5 million social media followers. We've got 3.2 million on TikTok, which is 2 million plus more than every MLB team. We know that we are a media entertainment business first. And how do we come up with these creative, fun ideas that show what we do in a different way? And then that drives merchandise, tickets, everything else. So that's how we have the opportunity to scale to this many cities, because we have the demand based on the content that we put out.
So like merchandise, what kind of merchandise do you guys have, and what's the most popular stuff, and how did you decide on your merchandise?
When we first came up with that, so when we were doing on Excel sheets, we had no idea what we were doing. So it was just one person that was like our community relations was like, oh, we announced the Bananas name, and did hundreds of orders that night. And we had like a typical $5 shipping, and we did like 30% orders were all over the world. So like $5 shipping to send to New Zealand, Australia.
You lost money. Yeah.
Oh, we were losing everything. I mean, literally term losing your shirt. We were losing it all there. So then we eventually changed it, which is crazy. Now we do free shipping on everything and do custom decals and everything. I mean, we've gone fans first to the level. But yeah, we now have 6 or 7 full-time on a merch department. We have a fulfillment center. We have warehousing. We're making 7-figure orders of merchandise. So we have to do it's bigger than we ever imagined. It's hundreds of orders every day all over the world. And then when we have our games, it's just very massive. So and because we don't actually sell it, like we don't promote that. If you go through any of our social media, you won't see anything about buy a shirt, buy a hat. Like you have to find it. But we're trying to entertain so much that you want to be a fan and you want to wear it.
So entertain first, and then the byproduct is you want to have the merchandise.
100%. Most companies go the opposite way. Sell, 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 sell. We don't. You can't find that on ours. Like we literally make it hard to find, to buy. Like it's the opposite approach. It's entertain, entertain, entertain. Become fans. Find a way to buy.
Yeah, I've never done merchandise, but my comedy special comes out here soon, and they're asking me to do merchandise, and I'm like, I'm just, it's not really my world. So I'm actually literally asking you to, so I could figure things out for myself here a little bit.
Well, what makes it different? So like, again, like for us, you have a really cool brand, and then all people want is the simplicity of the brand. We still, our jerseys are still our #1 bestseller. And then our logo t-shirts are next from there. But then, we do crazy things like, our Dolce & Banana underwear, we do some things that we sell probably over 1,000 a year of underwear, which makes no sense, but it's a unique piece. We do our ugly Christmas sweater, which is a unique piece. So, you want to have those.
Nice, ugly Christmas sweater. I like that.
Oh, yeah. We go all in Bananas logo. So you want to find maybe something that creates attention. You won't sell a lot. And then one thing basic is what we've learned, and then continue to expand from there. And then supply and demand. When we do our 24-hour sale, I'm not getting into the details here, but this is fun. You do a 24-hour sale. And so this shirt you do once a year, and after that 24 hours, it never comes back out again. It is gone. It's eliminated. No, and so you give people that. For 3 straight years, it shut down our website. So people were calling in because they were trying to buy at the same time, all at the same time. That is shut down. Finally, we got another server to figure it out this year. You're talking over 1,000 plus orders in 24 hours, and it's shut down. And you let people know, hey, halfway through the day, we've already done this. So it could be a cool supply and demand.
So what happened during COVID for you guys? Like, how did you navigate that?
We were in Georgia, so we were able to play in front of a very small crowd. That kept us in business. So our accountant reached out to me after the year. And he said, you may have been the only sports team in the country that was profitable this year. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, well, it's 13,000 is what you were profitable. It's not real, but you were profitable. And so I was like, 13,000, we'll take it, baby.
The team, and there was some money. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we'll take it. So yeah, again, at that point, when we were shut down for 6 weeks, I told everyone on our staff, I said, we're all entertainers right now. So from home, we each did Facebook Lives, we did Cooking with Bananas, we did trivia, we built our fan base. That's when we started our TikTok that now has 3.2 million. So everything that started, we looked at ourselves, how do we entertain from afar? And if we keep showing up, our fans will keep showing up, even more so later.
So last week I spoke at an event where I did comedy, tiny bit of content, and then I roasted the guy who's probably a billionaire
in front of the full, however many thousand were in the crowd. And so I think you need to be roasted, Jesse, is what I think needs to happen.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You could probably do very, very well at that. So maybe we can hold that for a few days.
I'll be nicer to you than I am to Canada. You saw what happened at the event we were at together in Palmetto Bluff, But yeah, man. I mean, although you have this fan base, I'd have to be a little bit careful, because you're the guy.
My question for you, and I would treat that with comedy and stuff. When you do you find themes, and then this type of theme works, and then you write more to that theme? Like that's what we kind of do our content. We see something and we put the gas on more of that and keep going that route. How do you push the jokes?
Roasting is just research. I'd like, this guy had written 4 books, so I got all 4 of his books. I went to his webpage, which is amazing because most people don't write the copy on their webpage, so it's usually like tons of material there.
Yeah.
Right. And then I interviewed his wife and for 17 minutes and got information there. And then, I'm at the event and I'm watching what's happening at the event. And like one of the themes were that for growth is always uncomfortable. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna open up with, this is going to be super uncomfortable on theme, and then another thing was to be seen. So I'm like, hey, I want everybody to see you, not in how you write in your books, but other information that's out there. So it was just, ended up being like a 15-minute roast. He was on camera the whole time laughing. But, I feel like you are very roastable, Jesse, very roastable.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, man. I mean, if someone's boring, what do you roast? What do you say? So that's just being mean.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Have you tried the comedians at your events yet?
We've tried one. Yes, we have tried one. The impersonator. And yes, I mean, it's so different. It's so different that it needs to be done in the right way. And so everything's an experiment for us.
Hey, if you're enjoying this video, well, I've got some good news for you. I've got a gift, actually 2. If you go to garrettgunderson.com/offer, it's a free offer to give you 2 of my books. Killing Sacred Cows, a New York Times bestseller. You've been hit the #1 on Wall Street Journal. And my most popular book of all time, What Would the Rockefellers Do? My gift to you, complimentary, so you can dive in deeper on the topics you're learning here at your own pace.
Yeah, so what are you experimenting with now? Like, what's next? Like, what's this road show? How do you do that? What's going on there?
So it's 32 cities, 20 states. We bring the whole cast, 120 plus people. We will bring new cast members on board every year. But yeah, the players are our biggest cast member. So we have 40 plus players. And so the way we work with our players is you're not learning how to play baseball, you're learning how to play banana ball. And so for instance, the last few weeks of our season, our guys were learning how to catch balls while doing backflips, catch balls barehanded, catch balls in their hat, be able to pitch through their legs, all these types of things, and do it in an unbelievable talent way. So if you build the goal that I see with sports, Garrett, is to look at every single at bat and make it a highlight. So right now, you watch a Major League Baseball game, you might get 2 or 3 highlights, like real highlights. And a lot of them are like a home run you've seen before, a strikeout you've seen before. I want to make where every single at bat, you're seeing something you haven't seen before. And if you create that 2 hours of nonstop highlights, that plays to everything that we're trying to do and then create people wanting to watch it. So that is very heavy bit on the player related, the umpire related, dancing ball boys, got ball boys can do split, the coaches, anything that comes into play on the field that's in a live broadcast, potentially on ESPN, we want to be some type of highlight or a show.
So what I like is I feel like we win in life when we play, and not enough people have play. They get so serious, life gets so heavy, it gets so complicated, and so like people forget that there's some artist within them because it's almost beaten out of them through life, right? Like by getting good grades or going to school or getting a job, that they're chasing benefits or whatever that might be. And then the world tries to define, this is how you're supposed to look. Like I'm in finance. Is this how finance is supposed to look or feel? And so there's a level of conformity that drowns out who we are as people. And so here you are, and you've just said multiple times, like, well, I just stick to the ideas and I'm having fun with the ideas. And I don't know a lot about the financials. And, I think you can know a little bit more about the financials. We could talk about that offline. It's not like it's taking a lot of your time, maybe just a little touch each Monday, for a few minutes, so you can understand. Then, then you know what your margins are. Then but not to be stifled by the finances, but to be informed by them. but when I look at it, like, you've just invented something that allows you to be creative.
Yeah.
And before, you did this because you love baseball. Were you that creative as a baseball player? You were playing it, but like being a team owner isn't necessarily playful for most people. It's very serious. So you've now added play to this whole thing, and even changing what the game is to be banana ball.
Well, thank you. And I think if you look at the greatest creators, like George Lucas, he created something that he wanted to watch. He created something that he would love. You see this all the time. Simon Cowell, he only picked people that he would like really enjoy for his music. He talks about this. So I think there's so much to be said about that. Like, I'm creating a game that I would not be bored at. And I understand the game. I create a game that I've unbelievable ADD at a game. I need to be at where it's like, there's something going on for me at all times. And I think it sounds selfish, but if you believe that you're creating something yourself that other people would like as well, it's a win-win.
And so, yeah. And so do you still play? Do you play any banana ball? Do you get out on the field at all?
Everyone wants me to play. There's, you're fortunate when, my big dream, I was getting drafted by the Red Sox. I grew up in Boston, and I got to be bat boy for the Red Sox for a game when I was like 5 years old. And my big dream.
And now, are you doing a show? Are you doing a show in Fenway? Are you taking this on to Fenway?
I'm meeting with the Red Sox this week, so they've reached out a couple times and very excited about the opportunity. So we won't do it in 2023. Everyone's expecting 2023. We will look for the future after that. But yes, that's
pretty cool.
So everyone's saying I should throw, I should pitch that, come back and pitch, and we'll see. That's not necessarily.
What was the last time you threw a game? Like when you
pitched I pitched against number 2 University of South Carolina, my senior year back in 06 was the last time I actually pitched. And then my shoulder, I got surgery right after.
So, dude, if you pitch, you might want to be more like a reliever or
I could pitch for a hitter. Give me a hitter. But we got all these. I mean, if there's a 75-year-old that's getting outs for us, and Jake Peavy, a Cy Young Award winner, and Jonathan Papelbon, who pitched for us in our last week, and all these guys there in their 40s.
Oh, wait, did Papelbon pitch for you guys?
Oh, dude, he pitched our last weekend for us. He was pitching in a kilt and doing shipping up to Boston. It went nuts. It went crazy.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the guys that are reaching out it's very comical. The guys that are reaching out right now that want to play for us, and I think because you made that point. It's about play. It's about fun, and if we can build that into our jobs and what we do, it's the perfect marriage of how you can just do so many amazing things in your life. And like I get to play every day. Like literally, my idea book is just playing, and like, oh, we get to make these ideas come true. That's crazy.
So, do you ever see yourself retiring from that?
It'd be a question I could throw back at you as well, but I've never felt, I hate that. I don't feel like a work. Like, no, like on vacations, I struggle to an extent. I want to get back into the creative. It doesn't make me like people like, oh, you need a vacation more. It's like, if you love something so much, why do you got to spend more time not doing what you love?
Right. Retirement is a concept that's built out of a physical labor assembly line kind of world, or doing something that we hate in order to make money. And so I get why people want to retire, but I also think that the best way to retire is to find a purpose or find something. And look, my son, when he was 9 years old, we were interviewing him because we're kind of doing this origin story. And he was listening to my wife get interviewed. And she's like, well, there wasn't really a job for Garrett out there, so he just created one. And my son was like, what do you mean created one? She goes, well, he just invented something that worked for him. Yeah. He's like, well, that can happen. She's like, yeah, it's called being an entrepreneur. So that was how she framed it. And he's like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like I'm doing comedy around the topic of money, not something that many people, if anyone else, is doing. And when people are like, well, it's never been done, or like a lot of people look for evidence of why things can't work versus finding solutions of what can work. And that's where I think it destroys play. Because again, we go in a robotic way of this is how it's always been done. And Jesse, I think this is the biggest problem that is never talked about. I know there's massive problems in the world, but this one has such a subtle underbelly, which is modeling. Modeling meaning, hey, model this other successful person by doing what they did and you'll get results. And then it creates this level of censorship and conformity that decimates who we are. And so you are breaking all of the rules by just creating your own game. See, most people are trying to get good at a game that already exists, whether or not they love the game, rather than saying, look, I once had someone say, hey, if you could be any piece on a chessboard, what would you be? What would you say to that?
No, they can't. Yeah.
Yeah, king or queen, right? And basically, he's like, look, you're even limited when you choose to be the best piece. He goes, the best thing to do is just create a new game board and invent the game. And see, when we create our own game, we create a win in that moment, and we continue to win because the process is the thing, not just the outcome. This is the danger with people that are too goal heavy. Hey, I have a goal that I want to win this thing, or I want to achieve this thing, I want to get this award, and then they give their life to that, they get the award, and then what's beyond that? And everything's about that one day someday, versus you're just saying, I want to invent this new idea, let's test it out today, tomorrow, right? Like, it's just, you have this playground that you invented from nobody coming to a game and being completely bored, and yet, how did you go from the stress of like, we don't have any money in our account and nobody's here, and now all of a sudden we got this negative publicity, to being like, we're going to have the most fun ever, and when we have fun, everybody else has fun? Like, were you losing sleep? Was your wife like, what in the hell are you doing? I can't believe that this is what we're up to. Like, what were those moments like?
Well, we had just bought an expansion franchise, so we just went to over $1 million in debt. So when we got the call on January 15th, 2016 at 4:45 p.m., I remember it vividly, that we were out of money. We overdrafted our account. We had nothing left. There was no option. There were no options. So it was literally that night that Emily said, we have to sell our house. And so at that point, yes, we got an airbed, and yes, we were grocery shopping with just $30 a week, which is not real food, Garrett. Like, for 42 meals between the two of us, that's not real food.
It's like Dollar General or something. You're buying candy.
No, we went to Walmart, and we've got like literally, I mean, people joke about ramen, but it was like literally dollar box stuff like that you would heat up in a microwave. It was terrible. But there were no other options. So what we just knew is that we just had to keep showing up and creating. The one thing that people don't understand, and I hate this misconception of this word as well, it's belief. Like, we truly believed if we just got people to see it. This was in the middle. No one had seen it. It's very easy to be critical when you haven't seen it. You haven't felt it. Like, the other day, someone said, oh, I hate Disney. I hate Disney. I hate Disney World. And I go, really? When was the last time? She said, I've never been. You've never been. Like, how can you give real criticism? Well, I assume the lines are everything. Like, yes, the lines are really bad, but there's other things that might make you like the place as well. So there were people being critical. And right now, when we announced this jump to leave Banana Ball, it's even more critical than what we did when we became the Bananas. Like, people are ripping us apart. I mean, Jesse's joke, this will never fail. They'll never make it. All this over and over again. They haven't seen it. So what I'm focused on is proving the people that believe in us right, not proving the naysayers wrong. It's a different mindset. I want to make the people look like heroes in 3 to 5 years. I can't believe this sort of become. And so, it's hard for me to go back to that time frame and say, how do we get through this? Because we didn't have any other options. It was just find a way to make this work and keep creating, keep adjusting. Don't do surveys. Don't listen to people and what they're going to say. Start doing and start learning by doing, instead of doing all this other data analysis. I mean, we had a study saying, if you go to Banana Ball, you're going to fail miserably. You're going to have no season ticket holders. Our season ticket interest has gone skyrocketed. It's skyrocketed. But everyone that they talk to, it's such a small percentage of time, they're going to be very critical. So I don't listen.
Yeah, it's the famous quote by Henry Ford, where he's like, if I would ask the public, they would have said faster horses, right? So
no one knows. Bezos says it best. You can say whatever you want about Bezos, but you have to be willing to be misunderstood. Nobody would have said they'd want something in their kitchen that looks like a Pringles can, that listens to you at all times, and you're going to tell it to play music. Like, no one would ever have said that. But now look what's happened with the Echo and Amazon Alexa. So, I mean, no one would say the iPhone. Every great invention, no one before would have really said it. You start trying and you start seeing the response to it. And we watch the response to Banana Ball, and 98% of our fans stay till the end of the game. That doesn't happen in any baseball game in the world.
Well, one of my mentors, Dan Sullivan, he says, test your ideas on the check writers. And so, like, here you have your fans, right? And you're getting immediate feedback in real time. It's kind of like comedy. Like, I once had my buddy say, hey, do you want some feedback on your set? I'm like, the great thing about my set is I got feedback moment by moment. Just moment by moment the whole time. Like, I got the feedback. I'm up there receiving it. I'm not, I don't need to survey it, or you feel it. And so you're out there testing these ideas in real time. How do you get, like, how much is the crowd involved versus spectators? I mean, because I think that's part of your secret sauce.
Yeah, as you could tell, even just from when we had a traditional game before then, our whole thing is what most sports teams, they have their sports team, and then they have their regular players, and then they bring on a few entertainers. and then that's their show. They don't realize with the Bananas, everyone is a part of the show. So the players, as I mentioned before, they're a huge part of the show. The players are going through the crowd celebrating with the fans. They are doing scoring celebrations and dancing. You saw the players, they were tremendously involved. But then also our 4,000 fans in Savannah and our 10,000, 8,000, whatever we're playing on the road, they are part of the show. We bake that in. All right, now everyone's singing. Now everyone's dancing. Now we're getting chants. And so you literally...
I think you're like, hey, it feels slow. I'm going to start the wave. And you're running across, everybody's doing the wave at a baseball game. Like, that's a football game thing that you're doing at a baseball game. Yeah.
Just like you on stage, you can feel it. I can feel a dead moment. And then we have audibles. We have a rain delay script. We have audibles. We have things that we can go to immediately to get the crowd back up. And that's...
Yeah, but you had a rain delay when we were there.
100%. And we were entertaining for an hour straight until the game started. And when people, the joked, looked around, no one had left. The metal bleachers are full in the middle of a lightning storm.
So I don't know if you could answer this, but how did you find this play in your life? Like, how did you just because you look at how playful you are now and how inventive you are. And like, even when we were talking and Palmetto Bluff, is like me, you and Tucker are just brainstorming. Like we're trying to throw every last idea we possibly can at you and see the reaction. But like, how did you find that? Because who you are now, there was an evolution there. There was a process to that.
Now. Yeah, 15 years to now. I think, you're competitive. Obviously, you've been in a sports background, and winning is, that's a weird definition. What is winning? But I knew what not winning was. And not winning was being the same as everyone else and getting the same attendance and people not caring. And, my first day when I was 23 years old and calling people in the Gastonia community and saying, hi, I'm Jesse Cole. I'm the new general manager of the Gastonia Grizzlies. I'd love to come by and introduce myself. And most people saying no, like I couldn't even get in the door with that simple little pitch, not even selling anything, just saying, come by and introduce myself. But when I finally got through, everyone said, yeah, we just really don't like baseball. We're just not really interested. And I heard it over and over and over again. And so it was finally, I was like, I can't keep hearing that over again and trying to say that we're a baseball team. I have to do something else. And so finally, I remember I was meeting with an HR director of a big company in Gaston County. And I said, she goes, yeah, like I said on the phone, thanks for coming, but our people aren't interested in baseball. I go, it's not baseball, it's entertainment. She goes, what do you mean? I go, our players do choreographed dances. And she goes, what? And I go, they dance. And she goes, really? In my head, I'm like, I'll find a way. And so that moment, she got excited because she saw that it was something different. And so it was more like a Broadway or something entertainment that more people would be interested in. And so that point, then I tested the player. I brought a choreographed dance instructor to teach the players how to dance. They were terrible dancers, but they danced the first night. They signed more autographs. By the second night, they were fan favorites. By the third night, I'm walking through the crowd and I watch a husband and wife and they're talking. And the wife goes, shut up, honey. They're about to dance. And I was like, all right, we are on to something now. And then that was exactly what we needed to start creating something. And so that's the moment.
This reminds me, when I was in high school, I was dating this girl who was a cheerleader and I was on the basketball team. And I remember, talking about the game. She's like, people don't really come to watch you guys. They come to watch us. And I was so offended by it, but now I'm just realizing she was probably right, thanks to you.
I didn't mean to go there, but yeah, sorry for your going back to your basketball career.
Just this realization now. It's cool.
But it's funny. But my point is that was that one little thing that then, think about that. That one thing where we had players dance 15 years ago has turned into a senior citizen dance team. The Banana Nanas has turned into a break dancing.
The Banana Nanas, that's so hilarious, dude.
They're epic. The Banana Nanas, they're epic since day one. The break dancing coach, a dancing umpire. Now our most viral by far moments that have got over hundreds of millions of views are now when our pitcher, our shortstop, our second baseman, center fielder in the middle of the pitch start doing a whole choreographed dance in the middle of the pitch and then throw the ball in. And you see what's going to happen. And people are like, this it's not happening in a real game. Like, yes, we've taken it from just on the outside in foul territory now to in the middle of the game dance. And it was that one little experiment that we kept putting the gas on.
So the question now is, how many people are more playful because of your play?
I think Banana Land's an unbelievably contagious place. And I know you guys, because the buses were left early, but my favorite moment, other than Hey Baby, where 4,000 people are doing Hey Baby, at the end of the game, all the players, the cast, the fans are out, saying goodbye to everybody. And it turns into this whole dance party. And literally, this doesn't sound playful, but after the last song, after we do one more Hey Baby, everyone in the plaza out in front of the stadium, Everyone puts their arms around each other. Players, cast, fans. It sounds kumbaya, but the tuba player comes out and starts playing the opening beats of Stand By Me. And everybody is smiling, singing when the night, literally sings Stand By Me. And I'm looking around, I'm like, it's just joyful and it's smiling. It's like people like grown men, muscular men, big, like all singing this song. And to me, that's a form of play that you never think. You have a stranger next to you, another person, and you're together singing. And that I think it's really spread pretty wildly.
And so do you relish those moments? Do you like appreciate what that is?
That's when I get emotional. In the final episode of Banana Land, episode 5, they come to me and they show my dad giving me a hug and say, "We dad proud." And of course I get emotional there because I'm still just a kid trying to make my dad proud. And then he said, they said, "Is this your dream?" And Bill Leroy, one of our players, been with us for 5 years, and he goes, "Jesse, this is your dream." And I said, "It's our dream." And I go, and we're never going to stop. And I get choked up. I'm saying that emotionally at the end of the episode. And because you can see me, they show me with arms around each other, looking around and seeing thousands of people. I mean, Kansas City, we went on tour there. We sold 10,000 tickets in 16 minutes. I mean, it was crazy. And they actually broke into the stadium. It was the scariest, craziest thing. They rushed the guards. There was 5,000 people waiting in line 2 hours before the game. They rushed in. It was like a concert scene. It was crazy. But the night turned out okay. It was amazing. Great finish. I'm looking around like, look at what we've done. And we're just getting started. And so that's where I get emotional. I think about the joy that's spread for people all over.
I mean, I was at Vivint Arena, which is where the Utah Jazz play basketball. And I was watching Dave Chappelle. And he, at the end of his comedy / speech, I mean, it's like this, it feels so organic, and it's like at moments it's funny, at moments it's poignant. And he says, "Hey, I just want to remind you guys, you're all here because I dreamt this big." And he walked off. I was like, so I mean, I think that vision is the rarest commodity in the world.
Yeah.
I just think it's the rarest commodity. I think that we often go, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the ability. And it's like this isolated world where people are afraid to step out of the comfort zone and to think of something that requires collaboration, because your collaboration includes the people in attendance, the players, the umpires now, the consent. I mean, there's just so much collaboration in this that allows you to just invent on a regular basis. But it has to begin with vision, which you had everyone doubting this vision and went forward with it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as you know, I think that's, so does he finish his speech? Sorry, I'm very intrigued about it. Does he finish his whole speech thing with that? We're all here because I dreamt this big? Or is that just a part of it?
That was the end of his set.
Oh my goodness.
The end of his set.
And did they cheer? They go nuts?
Yeah. And it was weird because I feel for him, because he's in front of, I don't know how many people, like 17,000. And people at comedy shows are weird. They'll like yell out at times when they're not supposed to. They'll laugh at times that aren't funny when there's that many people. But that one moment, they didn't screw it up. They just, like, I just turned to my son who's 14. I was like, that's why we came right there. That was awesome. That was a great way for this to end. Right. Like, because that's the thing. I think our insecurities, our doubts, our fears, our childhood traumas, our, false beliefs, the negativity in the new, there's just so much out there working against vision. And I think because there's such a deep desire for so many of us to have acceptance and to be loved, that a lot of times that vision is frightening, because what if it doesn't work out? And then we identify ourselves as that.
So I think it's so key. Then who do you surround yourself with? And I'm not necessarily saying people that are right around you. So for instance, I'm looking right now, I have an entire section of my bookcase is all Walt Disney. And you can say what you want about Disney, but vision, he might have had the most powerful vision, because think about this. How many companies where they lose their founder 50 plus years ago are still having a big vision and still making that type of impact? It very rarely happens when you lose your founder. You have to have a vision so strong that it is ingrained in your culture and your business. And he had that vision. And literally, when his father told him, "You'll never make money as an animator. You won't make money. Like, you won't be successful." His father told him that. His wife and his brother told him Disneyland was going to fail. Everyone in the entertainment industry told him that Snow White was Disney's folly and would lose money. It was the highest grossing movie of all time at that time. So like, he got told over and over and over again that his vision wasn't going to work, and he continued to go. So I think about this, like, that makes me feel better. We were told the Savannah Bananas were going to fail. We were told eliminating all of our sponsorship at the stadium, we would never make it. We were told the all-inclusive model, you can't make enough money doing that way. We were told, obviously, banana ball, that's a mockery of the game. You should never do that. So every step, I almost get scared if people aren't challenging our vision. Like in 5 years, 10 years, if they are like they should be saying, you're not going to make it again. And I'm going to laugh and be like, we've proved ourselves the last 5 times. But if that means maybe our vision isn't big enough, if the people aren't still challenging it, it's probably not big enough. And so I'm encouraged by that because I think we are dreaming big, just like Walt did.
So I like that. Let's make sure we capture and reiterate that. If people aren't challenging it, you're probably not dreaming enough. That just reminds me.
If people are challenging your vision, it's probably not big enough.
And usually, like after accomplishing a vision, like looking back, it feels like it was inevitable or that it was like low. Like I'm always like, I should have thought I should have dreamed bigger. It just felt like a big dream at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, it's like there's also the patience with that. There's also like you have to be able to have that big aggressive vision that you want to do things, but also have the idea of patience. Like there's
enjoy
a weird
today.
balance there.
It will enjoying the process along the way.
Correct. Like, you know, everyone, obviously the Banana Land TV series and everyone ends with me getting the call from the Red Sox and everyone's like, you got to go to Fenway, being open. Are they interested in having us this year? Yes. But being open, and I say, no, I want to hold off. And there's a reason for it. It's not because I'm scared of it. I just believe in building things in a different way and not rushing to certain things. And I see a bigger game. You know, I see it's not the Savannah Bananas or the Harlem Globetrotters. I see the game of banana ball being the big piece that's going to spread because it's not just about watching our game. It's about kids playing all over the country. It's actually spreading to maybe a kid instead of saying, I don't want to play for the Red Sox. I want to grow up and play for the Savannah Bananas playing in the Banana Ball League. I want to play for the Party Animals. I want to play for this. I see a much bigger game there. So it's not just trying to have our big one moment in Fenway Park. It's building something that can grow. And so that's a bigger vision I haven't even shared much. So again, it's like there's all I don't want to say strategy, but there's thought process. It's very thoughtful when you think of a vision, not just to get it done right at this short period of time. It's to think, you know, not thinking quarters, but thinking quarter centuries. I'm very intrigued on 2050.
So what happens when you're not at a game? And how often does that happen?
I end up missing a game or two a year, and I also go undercover once a year. So where I literally come as a fan, not wearing the yellow shirt, disguised to actually experience the whole game as a fan and take notes on all the friction points and frustration points. So
Nice.
it's that's again another thing gained from Walt. Walt has his fire station. He had an apartment above the fire station in Disneyland. He would go around the park every day and walk around and say, you know, what can we do better? He would go, what's wrong with this ride and how can we improve it? I mean, that was his whole mindset too. It was unbelievable. And that was back in, you know, the 1950s, 60s. So anywho, yeah, it's different. It's different for me, but my goal is to build something where it's not. I mean, it's challenging for you and me. We're going through the same thing. We are a big part of our brand, of what we do, of what we believe. But for me, if I can't build a show that's even better than when I'm not there, then I'm missing something, then I'm not doing my job. So I need to bring a show where it's literally better than me. And I know you and Tucker had thought process. You got to be a part of it every single day. Yes, but then that's actually short-sighted and a longer vision. If you believe that the game and the experience is bigger than yourself, you got to create it to be bigger than yourself.
Cool. So how old are your kids?
2 4-year-olds and a baby turning 1 next week in 2 weeks. And we're foster parents. So we have 1 biological son, 2 foster daughters, which we'll see how it ends up, but hopefully the best for either way.
So do the 4-year-olds enjoy the game?
Oh, yes. And this is what I love about it. I have 1 son, my biological son, Maverick. And guys like, he can play banana ball. Like he'll do more bat flips and dancing than anyone else. Like that was like my mindset. He wants to be in the banana pep band. Like he loves he'll go and watch the drummer and the saxophone player. He doesn't watch the game. He's watching the pep band just play. He loves the music, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
But then Kay, our foster daughter, I just say Kay on this podcast, but Special K as I call her. She wants to get on the field every time. She wants to dance. She wants to be on the field. She goes up to every one of the players. She loves it. So it's just so different personalities, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I kind of feel like my philosophy as a parent is I just want to take my kids while they're under my roof through a lot of different experiences, almost like an amusement park. And then they get to just go, I didn't like that ride. I like this ride. And like, I don't want to influence which one that is. I mean, like my youngest opened for me when we filmed my comedy special. That was awesome, but it may not be what he really wants to do long term. So I'm just definitely not pushing it. But if he ever says he wants to do anything, I'm like, cool, I'll bring you on tour or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. I love the analogy too of an amusement park and the ride. You know, if they can find a great ride that they love, take it the rest of your life. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I remember when my oldest son, when he was really young, he loved Winnie the Pooh. And the first time we went to Disney, since I know you're a Disney fan, so we went to Disneyland, and we get to the Winnie the Pooh Heffalump ride, and it was just 9 times in a row. We would finish the ride, go right back in line, go again, and he was just having such a fun time. And then all of a sudden, the 9th time when we came out, Winnie the Pooh was there, and he just pointed, and he just walked over and cut the line for everybody, touched him on the nose, and was like, "Pooh, it's me," like it was a really magical moment. So for those that say screw Disney or I hate Disney, like, first off, when we went to Disney World last time, this is gonna make me sound like an asshole and privileged, but we hired this consultant that said, "All right, you want to go to the park at this time, these are the rides you go to first, here's how," so with that person, we went through the entire park and the rides we wanted twice by noon, because we knew, and then we went to whatever their other park was. We knew the most popular ride, the best time to go to there versus the other one. So we were able to, so like, if you hate lines like I do, there's a way to deal with it. And you might have to research a tiny bit, but like to just destroy an experience because you've heard negativity means you're going to lose enjoyment in almost every experience, because it is human nature to find what's wrong because of the way our brains have been trained with that negativity. So I like that. Yeah.
Well, it goes both ways. It goes, again, we have some people that say, "Oh, I love the Savannah Bananas," and they've never been to a game. I'm like, you haven't even seen what we do, but they see the videos. And then you have other people say, "I hate what they're doing," and they haven't seen a game. So it goes both ways. And I think the reality is everything. It's how do you give family, yourself, as many experiences as possible, like actually experiencing something, not just seeing it digitally, actually getting there and feeling it live. And that's why I feel no matter how much we go digital, what we do will always be valuable for people to get out and feel part of something.
How many people are on their phones the whole time? Like, I've been to baseball games. I like to go to a baseball game a year, and I like a hot dog and a beer. And
they're on their phones to do one thing, to film. So that's film.
Yeah. Do they text in stuff or whatever? Or,
no, we don't even do it. I mean, we don't have a video board at our stadium. We do a lot of that stuff intentionally. I think it's so good to get people to be a part of something.
Yeah, I like that you still have the old school, changing the score in the wall 100%. Type of thing. Yeah.
And I get pushback from that from everyone. I'm like, I want people to come out and just be able to be around each other and have fun and feel like that is actually a unique experience now.
So how many cities are you doing?
32. 32. This year, 2020 state.
And you're going on all those yourself?
Yeah, from middle of February till end of September.
Are you taking your wife along with you, or
no? I mean, we'll be flying back Sunday to be at home. So I mean, it's more of a weekend tour. So we do weekends for 30 weeks, and then come back. But everything we do is an experiment. So there's so many experiments on this tour of new places and why we're doing them to get us to the next bigger experiment. Playing all around certain areas around major league stadiums that have already reached out to us. So we really build that fan base to see how it works. So then we could go to the major league stadium the following year. So there's a lot of experiments that people don't know when we put together a tour.
I know some people that really want to see every major league stadium in their lifetime. You're going to actually be doing banana ball in these stadiums. You'll get to see them up close and personal, go through the locker rooms, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll be a part of it. And, we've had some really interesting calls with some other venues, but I think that's what's fun, where it's like it's a real adventure. Like, we don't know how it's going to go. But I know we're learning things at these bigger stadiums. It's more of a challenge. If I were to build a banana ball stadium, I would build like an outdoor NBA arena. So it's like tight. Everyone's on top of it and it's electric. Like, that's how I would build it so people can really feel the energy. So there's a lot of things we're learning. People out in left center field, to get the banana ball show, we have to now bring our characters and cast out there. We have to literally set promotions out in the outfield. So we're using all of the stages around a stadium to give them that experience. It's a unique challenge.
What do you wish they would have had in the documentary that wasn't in there?
Oh, geez. It's let me be tactful. I think there's so many people that are involved in the show, so many cast members, so many players, so many behind the scenes. And with such a limited time, that I think the focus became a lot more of me and Emily, and I would have liked if it was a lot more on the rest of our team. So that would have been my goal, because I think there's so many brilliant, fun, creative, unique characters that would deserve more face time, and I think they'll have that opportunity hopefully for season 2.
Bro, if Walt were alive, he would definitely want to meet you.
It's funny. I appreciate that. I think that people ask, who do you want to meet? I go, I'd love to just be on Main Street and just like play catch with Walt. Like, I don't know if he could throw a ball at all, but just like play catch on Main Street, just talking with him and doing something fun would be pretty impressive, pretty cool. So
you've met some players that you always want to meet, it sounds like, from your baseball days.
I was a kid. Some people get like really big eyes and all excited about that. And like, so for instance, our director of entertainment, Zach, was a huge Red Sox fan, like amazing Red Sox, like the biggest Red Sox fan. So he knows everything that's going on our show. I started talking to Papelbon and I didn't tell him at all. So literally when
he showed up.
So Pap shows up, and this is like literally right before a game. It's one of our last games, Friday night. He shows up right before the game. We're going through our script. We're getting ready. He's in the zone. And I go, hey, Zach, just want you to meet our new player, Jonathan Palabon. And he goes, holy shit. He freaks out. He goes, no way. No, like he like freaked out. I go, just want to make sure you put him in the script tonight because he's going to be playing. He wants to play in his kilt. He goes, you're kidding me. And he lost it. And then Pap pulls out his World Series trophy. And he says, can you just hold this for me? And hands it to Zach. Zach's holding the World Series trophy, losing his mind. That stuff.
So you're doing all this cool stuff for your team as much as you're doing this for the crowd. And
that's so much more valuable for me. I mean, and that's where Emily's heart comes in. 1% of our top line budget only goes to surprising and delighting our team. So we've sent our fans first director on a bucket list trip to Ireland. We sent our vice president to go to game 1 of the World Series for his favorite team. We've turned the whole ballpark into a spa where we brought massage therapists and facials and haircuts and everything. We took everyone on a private bus to go shopping for Christmas with $500 gift cards. That stuff I love, because if you want your people to deliver these ultimate experiences, what we call fans first experience, you got to deliver them to them first so they know what it's like. And I think so many people skip right past that.
How much of this is in your book?
A lot.
How long ago did you write that?
I wrote it this past year. I mean, it came out in May, so it was probably written as much 2021 and 2022. But it talks banana ball. It talks everything where we're going.
What's it called?
Fans First.
Fans First.
Change the game, break the rules, create an unforgettable experience.
Change the game. Love it, man. Like, my whole concept of win, then play is about you create your own win, you build your own game. Most people are stuck in either playing not to lose or playing to win. The problem with playing to win is it's always chasing and never present, never enjoying. And it's all about an outcome and not about the process. Playing not to lose is fearful, it's hiding, it's, all that kind of stuff. But win then play is you just invent the game. You change the game.
Yes.
So look at you just doing that.
Well, it sounds like I think there's opportunities for a lot of people to do that. They think they're in this certain game that they got to continue to play, do the same thing as everyone else. And when you can create it, but you have to be okay with sleeping on an airbed for a little bit. You have to be like, there has to be challenges. I'm not saying we're advising that. We're not advising that, but you have to understand that sometimes you have to get through the messy to get to the great. And everything great that we've accomplished has been getting through the messy, from the all-inclusive to banana ball in the beginning, which was a disaster, to everything was messy until we had to figure it out. And that's real innovation. Innovation was you don't know how it's going to work. And then
invention is messy. Growth is disruptive, not only in the world, but even to your own life as you fumble through it.
Yes, 100%.
All right, man. Well, cool. Thanks for spending a little time with me today.
It's always fun jamming with you, man.
This is the first time we didn't just sit here and brainstorm ideas the whole time.
That's the next one, which I think some people would actually enjoy listening on that, like, because it's out of the box and really wild. It's fun. We need to do that.
Yeah, man. Well, it's always fun. It was cool to get to experience it. Like, I didn't even get to experience banana ball. I just got to experience baseball with the circus around it and all the fun. And, it was really cool. I mean, because baseball, I enjoy going to the game, but it's like, there's a lot of times I forget that the game's going on. Like, actually, I took my wife to an Atlanta Braves Phillies game. Right when we came back from a long summer trip, like across seas, and it was so boring that I'm telling her jokes and she's laughing and she's like, that's kind of funny. Where did you get that? So I became a comedian at a baseball game through the sheer mundane nature of it. So I would have I got to thank baseball for that, because for maybe yours would have just inspired me to start telling jokes in the moment, or like to try to participate or try to catch some bananas down my pants or whatever it was. What do you call that when you're throwing the bananas?
We're very original name. It's called Banana in the Pants.
Banana in the pants. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, just so many different things that you have going on like that. It's awesome. So, congratulations. It's awesome to see you on the other side of this, inspiring people to be more playful in their life, to participate, to reinvent games. There's this, to have vision. There's just so many things that you're the epitome of, and that you're an example of, and that you're inspiring, whether you intend to be or not. And you definitely stand out in 1,000 ways, including a yellow suit everywhere you go. And dude, we're wearing a yellow suit in Savannah. That's why I was heavily concerned. Like, please tell me you have more than one, because, dude, people are going to games in the ridiculous humidity. So you have all the things working against you and still crushing it. So, pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. Get through the messy to get to the great. And yeah, I'm very excited for that eventual roast you'll do of me. It sounds like you got a lot of material to work with.
Yeah, man. I mean, as I gain popularity, then you'll be like, hey, right now don't bring enough people to your millions of viewers yet. I'm in the early stages of this, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Like, maybe your team will just bring me on, and all of a sudden I'll show up at a game, and then I'm just like roasting you every inning. The 7th inning stretch is me stretching you out of your comfort zone with roasting. I mean,
I'll tell you, our team would
very easy, Jesse. Very easy.
It sounds like maybe I use the 1% budget, some of that on you to do that, because I think our team would actually appreciate that more than some of the things we've already got them. So,
dude, I would just sit down and interview them. Can you imagine the amount of material that would come from me interviewing your wife and them? I'll read your book. I'll look at it's just, anyone that's written a book is basically giving you a roadmap of how to make fun of them. That's what it is. Completely a roadmap of how to make fun of them.
That's for sure. Well, great stuff as always, my man.
All right, man. So good to see you, man. Take care of yourself. All right.
Thanks, Garrett.
If you enjoyed this episode of Getting Scaled, I love interviewing fascinating people, asking them plenty of questions so we can discover what worked for them in life, what didn't work, where they made mistakes, and where they had triumphs, and how all that happened, and then just maybe have a good conversation so that it's entertaining along the way. If you like that, there's more Getting Scaled episodes. Why don't you click through and discover a new one?